Here's our little man. Our little man is currently obese. He wants to become thin. Now, you don't have to be stick figure thin, but you get the idea. He doesn't want to be obese anymore. He currently does not drink any water. However, he does have coffee in the morning, about maybe 3 cups. He might have some orange juice. He might have a thing or two of Coke throughout the day, but not very much water. Maybe a sip or two at the fountain, but not that much water. And this is what we're focusing on. When obese man many years ago fell and sprained his ankle. His ankle got all big and puffy and swollen. And he put ice on it, and the swelling went down. Obese man is currently completely swollen. All of his body is completely swollen. It's the same idea where if you have something that's completely swollen, it's because there's something wrong on the inside. In the case of this, his tendon or whatever happens when you sprain, that's what's going on in here. A tendon, maybe a joint. I personally broke my pinky toe joint when I was 15, and I had to have a boot cast all the way up to my knee for 6 months because your toes are just that important for balance. It was my pinky toe joint. But anyways, so that was wrong with my situation, was I had a joint that got broken. His, let's say it was a tendon. There's something going wrong inside Mr. Obese Man's body that's causing his whole body to swell up. Almost all of the time, it's going to be way too much sugar in the body. And what they're finding out now is that too much sugar causes all kinds of current modern problems. Alzheimer's is sugar in the brain. Diabetes is sugar in the pancreas. Renal failure is too much sugar in the kidneys. All kinds of problems because of sugar. And a huge problem with obesity is just so much sugar in all of our food. Not fat, not meat, but processed sugar. And sugar has a lot of disguised names, which is, I'll make another video on that. But the way that you treat an inflamed body is the same way you treat anything else that gets inflamed. You apply, in this case it was ice. You don't have to put ice on your body, but you do need to put ice in the form of, so this is water in the form of frozen water. This is water in the form of liquid room temperature water. You need to apply to your body room temperature water. Same way that you apply ice to this, it's just water. You're just putting water on it and it deflames it. When you drink water, it deflames your whole body and it really helps you become like this. A lot of reasons for it. One is because when you have enough water in your system, your appetite is regulated and you don't need as much food. And since you don't need as much food, you find that you want to eat, when you do eat, you want to eat actually good food that fills you up. You don't want a bunch of sugar. You end up actually wanting good, wholesome food because water really does help satiate you. And people who are obese are almost always, 99% of the time, dehydrated. They're just not drinking enough water. Now, the sugar is a whole other issue, but another reason why water keeps you thin is the pH. Actually, let's come back to sugar. Sugar is acidic. The human's pH is at a 7, which is the same as water, actually. Water is also a 7. Now, the opposite of acidic is alkaline, and these are things like raw fruits and vegetables. In fact, the only thing that turns alkaline in your body is raw fruits and vegetables. So lemons, they are citrus. However, once they are in your body, they turn alkaline. All raw fruits and vegetables turn alkaline. Anything else is actually acidic, including bread, nuts, meat. A lot of healthy things do turn acidic. So it doesn't mean that you can't eat things that are acidic, but you have to be aware of this pH. Cancer breeds in acidic environments. So you don't want your pH to be so acidic all the time, which if you eat a lot of sugar, it is acidic. So that could be a major problem that's inside the body that's causing inflammation, is you just have too much of an acidic environment all the time, usually caused by sugar. Water brings the acidity level back up because it is at a level 7. Now, acid is anything below 7. Basic or alkaline is anything above. So if you have a too acidic of an environment and you drink water, guess what it does? It makes it more alkaline, meaning cancer can't breed as much. Now, how much water should obese man drink? Well, every human needs 1 gallon of water a day. Does that mean that you should drink 1 gallon of water a day? Probably not, because now I do think you should drink 1 gallon of liquid a day, especially if you're active. If you're not so active, a half gallon to 3/4 is fine. When I was running every morning, I would drink a gallon of water or a gallon of liquids. So the reason I don't think you should drink a gallon of water is just simply because in our society, we have so many other options of beverages that it's just not feasible to only drink water. You're going to want to drink other things. You're going to want to have your morning coffee. So I would say half a gallon a day, depending on if you're drinking 1 gallon or if you're lowering it. If you're lowering it, then it should be half of one of these, if that makes sense. But let's just say, because everybody does need 1 gallon of water. I'm just saying in society, it's just, we're not going to do that because there's so many other options. So have half of a gallon be water, because you do need a lot to be just plain water to raise up. And I know all other liquids are made of like 99% water, but there's so many other things added in them, like coffee, and it's obviously turns acidic. Coke turns acidic. Milk turns acidic. Water is the only thing that doesn't turn acidic when it's by itself. So you want at least half a gallon of water to be just plain. And then your other half can be other liquids. You know, we're not Nazis here. So water is so important.